All right, welcome everybody. Sorry we're a few minutes late. So joining me is Mr. Imrad Shahid here, and then I am John Ruzin. Vinny is joining right now, but we're so blessed to have everybody join us tonight on our webinar and why you should be excited and investing in senior living. Tonight we'll cover a lot of exciting topics of, the different the shifts in demographics, the tax benefits, what things that we're doing to revolutionize the senior living world. So very, very excited to get started. Vinny will be here any second. I'll start sharing my screen. And then throughout the webinar, we would love to have you guys ask questions. And it's really cool. So we can pop them up on the screen. So at any time, as we're going through, if there's something you guys want us to cover more, less of, go over, any specific questions you have for us, please don't hesitate to ask. We'd love to go over them as well. All right. Cool. All right. So we'll get started with the presentation, and then Shahid, Vinny, can you see down here, Shahid?
Vinny, yeah.
When Vinny pops in, we'll have to bring him in.
Sure.
But all right. So we'll get started here. Awesome. So welcome everybody. So like I said, I am John Ruzin. This is Shahid Imran. Vinny will be here in a second. And so this webinar is why you should be investing in senior living and why we're so excited to get started and to share this with the world. So first, a little housekeeping. So the disclaimer is this webinar is for educational purposes only and should not be considered as legal or accounting or investment advice. The information in this document does not represent an offer to sell or a solicitation of an offer to purchase an investment or security. The information presented is believed to be accurate and reliable. We make no representation or warranties expressed or implied as to the accuracy of such information, and we expressly disclaim any and all liability that may be based on such information or errors or omissions thereof. Please consult with your own attorneys, financial advisors, CPAs for legal matters, investments, or specific tax advice. So let me see, is he in yet? So I will start introducing Vinny. There he is. All right.
Well, I'm on my cell phone, John. I apologize. I'm rebooting. It has never happened like this. I apologize to everybody. I'm so sorry. I'm just rebooting my laptop. Somehow something went wrong, but please go ahead. Go ahead, John. I'm
Cool.
right here and I'll be coming together in a second there, but please go ahead. Yeah.
Awesome. So back to it. So, who is Vinny Chopra? So I'm sure a lot of you guys know who Vinny is. Maybe many of you don't. So Vinny came here about 40 years ago. He entered the USA with only $7 in his pocket, got his MBA from George Washington University. He had a very humble start selling educational books and Bibles door to door. So he always tells me the story, as a salesman coming over from India with a hard accent, it was a struggle, but he overcame all that. And so it's a very humble story. He's a husband for over 40 years. Actually, this year was his 40th wedding anniversary, 2 children, Monica and Neil. He's very proud of them. And his companies, Monil Investment Group, Monil Management Group, Monil Senior Living, they're Monica and Neil made together. So it's a very meaningful name. Vinny is a California real estate broker, and he got into real estate about 35 years ago. So far, he has done 29 successful syndications, all as the lead sponsor, the principal, controlling over 4,300 units and a portfolio worth of over $350 million. So very exciting. And a lot of the syndications have been in the last 3.5 years. And so Vinny is also a general partner in a Hilton Garden Inn hotel, actually in McAllen, Texas, and then the principal general partner in Monil Senior Living. And at the peak, he had over 135 full-time employees in his company. So very, very exciting. Cool. And actually, as of today, Vinny's been on over 162 podcasts. So he's all over the internet. Very exciting. He's got a lot of good information. You can just Google, and he's covered every topic from motivational speaking to his humble starts to digging into the nuts and bolts of syndication. And here's another slide here. So out of all the 162, there's just many, a wide variety. And I added ours here as well, so kind of exciting. But he's been all over, so that's cool. And then if you guys have not read his book, I highly encourage it. So we have it at 99 cents tonight, and we're going to keep it at 99 cents, the Kindle edition, for another week. Very good if you guys are interested to learn more about the syndication process. Vinny does a fantastic job, making you want to read further and further into it. So it's very, very good. And it dives deep into the process. So if you're not familiar with the process, it's a good start. Our new book, Positivity Brings Profitability, is coming out. We're in the final editing process. And then if you haven't subscribed to our podcast, make sure you guys do. A lot of gold nuggets there. Vinny, are you back?
I'm coming in. Thank you so much. Thank you, John. I would love to share the screen if I may. Thank you so very much. I apologize for, okay, we're going to turn it off here. Sorry about that. I just, technical difficulties do happen sometime, and that's what happened here. My apologies. Let's see. How do I share the screen? Okay, share the screen. So if I share right there we are. And my PowerPoint presentation. So are you able to see my screen now? Yep. Is that right, John? Yes. Okay, thank you. Thank you again, everybody. And if you don't mind, we will start the chat process. Please, if you will write your name and maybe where you are from, I would really, really appreciate all of you. If you could do that, we'll start the slide presentation from this point forward. John, thank you again. I really, God has been good to Chopra family and everything, and we are a family-owned business. My daughter is in it. She's our VP of operations. Then Monica, her name, and our son Neil. So we combined the name to make it Munil. My wife is also VP of Investor Relations. Then Ana Martinez, our VP of Finance. And it's been just a wonderful journey for the last 14 years. And we'll just go next. There we go. You already discussed that, John, and the book and all that. Sorry. This is what we're going to talk about tonight. Why senior living? Why we are having so much buzz around it all over the world and very much in USA. And just to kind of share, Mr. Shahid Imran, who is right there also with John Rusin, we have combined our joint partnership together. My companies, Monil Senior Living and Build Senior Living. Mr. Imran is the CEO and the founder of Build Senior Living, and we'll kind of share with you that he's done very, very well in this space of building very nice, high quality, luxury senior living space and so forth. So we'll be kind of asking some questions. You'll be asking some questions and we'll be answering them for you. So it's a very good, joint partnership. I've been thinking about it for about a couple of years, and as the stars align, I believe in positivity, law of attraction, secret, all those, universal principles. And I was always wanting to get into senior living, and God has given us strength to join together to find companies. And we are very, very excited about that. So we'll talk about that, and a lot of portfolio, almost like $1 billion under our, managements and so forth like that. Just to give you a little bit glimpse of, I've done 28 syndications so far where I'm the principal. So in other words, I've been on the loan on every single one. It's not limited partnership or like that by putting 50,000 or 100,000 and people say, I own 600 units or 500 units. It's everything singly done, as a principal, as sponsor, syndicating. These were the two I bought with my joint partnership with Enzo Multifamily last year, $52 million deal in Florida. We love it. It's like a resort, very nice. We closed on it like in June 27th, 324 units. And then Princeton Park, we purchased $35 million, 200 units like in December of last year. So these both the purchases have been done in last year. And then over the years, you can see I have bought lots and lots of other properties, just a partial portfolio we wanted to kind of share with you. Then also Mr. Imran can take us on this one. He's done very, very well in the building of the senior living space. And we'll talk about why senior living and all the effect of it. We just wanted to kind of take a little bit time in the starting of the presentation to give you some strength that hopefully our credentials are such that we can talk about this subject. And that's the main thing about it. Whether you are building yourself or you're investing passively later on, or you want to learn about, why senior living is such a big buzz word and what's happening with the silver tsunami that's happening in USA right now, which is like 10,000 baby boomers, the age up to 64 are turning 34 to 64. I think they are turning 65 plus every night in USA, 10,000 of us. I'm a senior citizen myself. So that's what it is. And that's why we're going to talk about with different graphs and show you the data points and why it's a wonderful thing to look into this special aspect of the commercial real estate. That's what our goal is tonight, to and answer a lot of questions and everything. We are not selling anything. We are not offering anything. It's just an educational webinar that we are putting together today. Actually, it's also that we put a show, a podcast show we have put together on every Thursday night, same time, 5 p.m., same time through StreamYard. We will be broadcasting in 5 channels every Thursday night with some guest speakers, and Mr. Imran will be there, John will be there, I'll be there, so on. But then every 3 weeks, we'll be doing a webinar like this one every 3rd week. After this one, 3 weeks later, we'll do it again, and that will keep on going to educate masses, lots and lots of great professionals who are very busy in their professions, doctors, attorneys, surgeons, CPAs, business professionals. I live near San Francisco, California. We've been living in the Bay Area for 40 years. I live in Danville, Blackhawk, right there, country club. And it's been wonderful. We've been living here for 40 years. I heard John was mentioning our anniversary was in April, actually, 40th wedding anniversary. And, we are just loving it here in California, Northern California. But our portfolios have been all over, in the USA. So this is something I would love. Mr. Imran, would you like to kind of share with us, sir, about how you have been, what's your passion also, and how you got into senior living, maybe, if that will be.
Yeah. So basically, before I was in senior living, I was in healthcare till 2009-10. That's where we started building senior living, assisted living, independent memory care. So why I started? Well, when I was in healthcare, so the condition I saw, the facilities were very good. So I wanted to come up with a luxury senior living to support the generation that spoiled us. So that's where we started, and we have built over 23 facilities. Some of them are under construction. Um, I have done by myself with some partners and joined. So now I'm here. I'm blessed to be with Mr. Chopra and see how far we go from here.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. And, as you can say that a lot of these, this is Michigan, Shelby Township, Brighton. And the exciting part is that because Mr. Imran lives there in the, Michigan area, he just built 22 of them over there, just saturated the market. And now we have just built one in Cape Coral. It's not even open yet. We'll be getting the full license next week, I think I heard. And but we have built like 88 units ground up, and we'll be showing some pictures of that to show you the quality that we are building and so forth like that. But the big thing is that, it was built at this price, about 12 million three. And also we are not even open. We got a offer to purchase by a REIT to pay us $90 million, just without even opening it. So there is a really good gain for investors, for people who are thinking about passively investing or doing it themselves and things like that. So we just wanted to kind of share that this one here, he was able to open last year 76 units, and he did sell it already. This one is also sold also. So if we go to the next slide right there, that's again Davison, Michigan, Bay City, Michigan. As you can see, completed projects all over in Michigan: Taylor, Clinton, Oxford, Canton, all of them. And there are several of them under, projects under construction also. During COVID, actually, when COVID happened and all the restrictions came, it was ironical that the local governments, local mayors were able to tell Mr. Imran that keep on building because it's critical need for these kind of assisted senior living. And we'll talk about what senior living will kind of educate you all. Some of you already might know if you're in health industry and so forth, but that's what we would like to kind of talk about. And we are very, very excited that in the future we are so excited about the whole trend that we'll be building 4 to 6 projects per year, like in, all over the place. That's where that is. And then let's go here, why we are so excited about senior living. Silver tsunami. Many of you might have heard about silver tsunami. Just the word says it's that sweeping the nation where 10,000 baby boomers are turning 65 every single day, every single day. And if we go to the next slide over here, let's just look at it. In USA right now, we have, this is the chart. We took it from census government, 64 to 74 years of age, the population, right from 1900. Hold on.
Vinny, make it bigger if you can. So if you want to
Okay.
share it, so it's a little bit smaller.
Oh, okay, John. Thank you. Yeah, maybe like this. How about if I can take the comment column out? That might be better. Oh, how can I?
So the right side right there. So hit the X up and then click the
Okay,
other.
there we go. Okay, thank you, John. Okay, is this better, John?
Slightly.
Okay. Oh, wow. Well, let's just go more and more.
Perfect. If you want to put it in presentation mode, you could do that too.
I would love that. I would love that. I thought I might have done it, but there it is. Thank you, John. Yeah, perfect. Thank you so much. So essentially what we are sharing in this graph, this is population in millions. So it starts from 0 all the way to 100 million. That's 100 million population, senior population by age group from 1900 to 2050. 2050. That's 150 years of the spectrum to look at it. The first one, the green one, the very lower one, is 64 to 75, 4 years of age. Please see how we are in 2020. 2020 is right here. So we are right at about 31, 32 million people are in this category right there, 64 to 74. Then it's going to bound to increase, as you can see from this point, more and more and more in this category. 75 to 85 is the second one. That's the middle one. As you can see, it's growing from smaller number to bigger, to bigger, to bigger, to bigger. And the biggest over here, that's 75 to 84, years of age. And that's getting to be like in the 70 million range right there. And then 85 plus is the blue one. So out of 90 million or 89 million people that we are projecting, there'll be a whole bunch of, 85 plus population. Demographical shifts is happening big time. big time, and lots of companies will be directing their products and their services to really cater to the seniors, 80 years, 85, 90, 100 years, like that. It says 85 plus. So this could be anywhere from 85 plus years to 100, 104 years. As you know, we are, living longer and so forth like that. Let's look at it another way also. So this is a little bit more finite graph of the we are in 2020 right here. So we wanted to put this graph together. Again, we got it from this US Census Bureau 2017. Actually, it was printed, published. So maybe now in 3 years, some of these might have even gone higher, we think, because of the projection. So we have population of 65 plus as of this year, 50, almost like 56.4 million people are in USA. It's going to increase to 74.1 in just 10 years. In just 10 years, there is a huge increase in this population, and then 82 million, then 88 million, and then 98 million, just like we were looking at over there, 65 plus, almost 98 million. And then this is the one, the smaller graph is the one that shows us 85 plus population. And that's where the assisted living kind of comes into play. We just wanted to mention it right now. We'll share with you a lot more and educate you about the whole thing. So population of 85, right now we have 6.7 million in USA, and it's going to grow to 9.1 million in 10 years, 14.6 million in 2040, 20 years. That's 30 years, almost 19 million. And then about 20 million of us will be needing some kind of assistance, as you can see in this graph right there. So that's another one. The next one we wanted to kind of share again, the supply and the demand outlook for 65 plus years old in the 10-year forecast, and how it's going to be from now until the 2029. Just in 10 years, we are right over here. It's in a very, very big slope. Look
Next
at
one,
that.
we wanted to kind of share
Right
again.
there. So that's 16.8 million people will be added on, and 31% growth, 31% in just next 10 years. And then there is 2.2 million of our 85 plus year olds. That's 33% growth, 33% growth, more than any segment. So those kind of graphs are very, very powerful for looking at it. Also, many of our investors and our audience today, we had about 160 people register. I don't know how many we have today join us, but we'll be doing it every 3 weeks. So please join us back again, and it will be free education and everything. Please join us again in 3 weeks, but we'll talk more different things about senior living in all those sessions. We want to educate how we should look into this market with a new perspective, and how we can passively invest in them, possibly how you can get involved if you have businesses, how you can change your, shift in the product and so forth to cater this market. So cumulative NC REIF total returns, they have compared that with multifamily and senior living. This is the chart from NC REIF right there about Q4. We got it, and it's showing that stabilized senior living has been pretty good returns. Look at that. Oh my gosh. Now, this one is apartments. The yellow one is multifamily apartments. And many, many of you have already invested like me. For the last 14 years, we've been investing in value add apartments and other apartments and everything, and trying to increase the rent and reduce the delinquency and give concessions, and then deferred maintenance is there, everything. But look at that. Right from here, 2011, they started looking at it. That's like 9 years chart. It's being almost double. Look at that, double, than what the apartments have been returning. So that's a good statistic, for investors to look at. Let's look at the supply and demand. That is a tremendous. Again, we took it from sources NIC map and US Census Bureau. We have really been reading a lot to educate all our investors who have been with us for a long time, and also all the people who are interested in senior housing. Supply and demand outlook is very good, because supply and demand, the demand is going to outpace the supply ridiculously for the next 30 years. For the next 30 years, it's going to be just amazing shortage of supply of this. Even if we go at the same rate as we are going right now, which is we are right over here, as you know, 2020 middle half, or 2020 kind of thing in this diagram. But it's going more and more, and in about 4 or 5 years, it's going to be huge shortage. And that's where I think lots of businesses will be targeting, supply and demand equilibrium. And then this is also a very good one. John, would you like to take us through that, buddy? Please.
Awesome. So as you can see, so supply and demand, so we're actually at a 30-year inventory low. And so, it's a correlation. So the more the population, the more product you need. And so right now we're going into literally the lowest time that it's ever been.
Sure.
Right now we're going to get that curve back up and follow the trend. So yeah, it's a pretty simple slide. So we're looking to catch the ride back up.
Yes. Thank you. Sure.
And so
John, go ahead.
Yeah, this one actually is one of my favorite slides. So no one knows what's going to happen in the next 6 to 12 months, 24 months. The stock market was doing good until today. I think down 1,900 points, the Dow. So we may be going into recession, we may not. But if we do, compared to multifamily, it weathered the storm much better for year-over-year returns to investors. And some of the reasons are, a lot of our residents, or actually all of our residents, they're non-working, and 95% of our residents are private pay. So they're not depending on a job. So for example, if our resident loses their job, their rent is already paid for, either through trust, through long-care term insurance, through very small amount of our residents have their son, daughter, family pay for their stay. So we don't see that effect. Whereas in an apartment, if you lose your job, you're not able to pay rent. We know what happens there. Doesn't turn out very good. And so that's why the dip was much stronger there. And so with multifamily, still a great investment, still great, but there's going to be a small correction, maybe not as big as we once thought. But most places, they're not going to be able to get the projected rent growth that we wanted to see, for 2020, 2021.
Sure.
And John, there is a huge difference between rent when you have renting an apartment or a housing than senior living. So there's a huge difference. I mean, you can get rent an apartment anywhere from 1,500 to 2,000. There would be higher end. In senior living, it's usually anywhere from 5,500 to 7,000, even 8,000. I was in Fairfax, Virginia.
Yes.
The memory care rate was 11,000, and assessed was 8,500.
Yeah.
And it was a 350 square foot studio, so I was shocked. So people, ask me a question, hey, did you ever kick any residents out that they couldn't pay? And I have not seen any residents left a building because they could not afford the rent, or they ran out of money in the last 7 or 8 years.
Mhm.
And you will be amazed that, this retirement funds, this generation, works very hard on the retirement fund or long-term insurance. The best thing about this senior living is all private, 100%. So there is no federal or government, guideline that need to be followed for if there's any, sometimes in healthcare, if you get audit, you have to return that, fees. So it's 100%. Usually, as you said, 95%, private. There is, the long-term insurance, but The other question I get to ask is, Shahid, do you think it's going to be overbuilt? I
Yeah.
that's why we see, new senior building, pop up, every corner. So the thing is, if you see in next 15, 20 years, senior housing will be just like multifamily. If you see our baby boomer are still 4 to 7 years away, so in next 7 to 10 years, it's gonna be economic. Like Mr. Chopra said, we will have shortage. So this, I'm putting building every 30 to 40 mile away because I know there is a huge need. That and by the time we build this building, it's another 24 to 36 months. So imagine what will happen in at that time. So anyway, we do build this senior living. We do demand 800 900 beds. They are shortage at this time. So imagine what will happen in next 7 to 10 years.
So true, so true. Thank you so much. Thank you, Shahid. Also the feasibility studies are very, very important. And we are able to not only do our own internal feasibility studies, but then also get other people, outside companies to do that, because we have to spend our own millions of dollars locking in the land, getting the ordinances changed, getting all the building permits and all the things. I think Mr. Imran can say a lot more than I can, but it's a big drawn out process, right?
Hmm.
Exactly. This usually before we even open, we are sold 40 to 50, 55, 60% on our waiting list, and we're not even finished the building. So you can see the huge need.
Yes, yes. Now this one, John, you want to take us through this one, bud?
Of course. So, as you know, there are five main types of senior housing. So, typically, senior housing, when you think of it, you think of a nursing home. You think, I can remember when I was young going to visit my great aunt in a nursing home, very stinky, very smelly. And, that's what has been, imprinted in my mind. But, really, there are five main types. So, the five main types, the first one is age restricted apartments. And then we go to independent living, assisted living, memory care, skilled nursing. And so as we go from the left to right, it becomes, the left starts with your choice. And as you go further right, it's more need driven. So, you choose to live in independent living. Typically it's, age restricted. There's no care, very little regulation at all, if any, in many states. And then when you get to the nursing homes, that's where it's, very intense care. The state, as you can see, is roughly 20 days. It's federally licensed, and there's a lot of restrictions, and there's, a lot more liability when it comes to that. And so a lot of people, when they think of it, that's what they think of. But, there's actually the five main types. And what we are focusing on is the assisted living and memory care aspect of it. And so there is, state licensing. Every state is different, and there's different licenses you can get. The average stay is actually one of the highest in our segment, besides independent living and age restricted. But we look, the resident stays roughly anywhere from 22 years to two to 2.5 years, which is awesome. And it's sad to say a lot of our residents, they do pass away, but it's their final place. And the communities we build, we'll get into, you'll see it's actually like a true home to them. And Shahid always says that a lot of the
Yeah, John, this is also changing. If you see now, believe or not, this generation is living longer because what's available out there in as far as all these healthcare facilities, those options. So people, this average stay for assisted living will increase. You will see a huge difference in maybe next I would say 4 to 7 years.
Sure, sure. Thank you. Thank you. And again, this is the kind of graph again, just to not to again blabber the point, but there is nursing homes. Then I know a lot of coronavirus and all things. If you read a lot of different studies and reports and everything, how it's affecting the senior housing, the quite a few of these, and we have a slide also to kind of share with you nursing homes where people are coming in and out short stay. They are going to the hospital, bringing germs back into the nursing home, and there is so much constant need of attendance, and attending nurses and doctors and everything. That's where most of the corona COVID cases have been coming. Not too much from the independent living or assisted living, but from this side. But this kind of shares the what percentage of the business that we are kind of going after. And this is another one, same thing, just going to share with you, where the seniors go for care. The assisted living is the first step. If mom or dad, they trip and fall or something, and they are not able to move around that good, or they cannot cook and things, or one of the spouse passes away and the other spouse health goes keep on going down and down, then the family sits together and then they say, mom and dad, we want to put you into an assisted living. So that's the very first stage of the assistance. That's where we are in that kind of field ourselves, but we wanted to educate you about all the different levels of senior housing, out here in USA. Of course, nursing homes are a lot more numbers also, 1 million to 15 USA. And these are about 500, 600 something, let's say even 700. And then continuing care, retirement communities. This continuing care is also very, very sophisticated, model. And then, of course, the memory care is, so we have joined memory care and assisted living together in the communities that we build. We take these two spectrums together to do that, and we would love to kind of share with you again. This is, and then we'll go into there. If we look at the national health expenditures, it's mind boggling. It's literally mind boggling how many trillions of dollars are being spent and will be spent in the next 10, 30, this is 10 years, even 7 years. Sorry. We are in 2020 right here. USA, all the industries related to seniors, counting every kind of product and everything, all the medicine and all that, and the housing and everything, 4 trillion, because it's 4031 billion. So it's like 4 trillion, and it's going to be almost $6 trillion, as you can see, in just next 7 years. So there is a huge, huge in 50% increase, actually, if you can see that, right there in the dollar industry, what the national health expenditure is going to be in USA. Some of you might have this question, and we'll open up the forum very quickly so that you can ask us questions. You can, I think we can even do the chat, right? Is that right, John?
Yes, that is correct.
Yeah, we can go into that. But a lot of our, investors and our friends have asked, who pays for it? Who pays? These are actually the national costs of care, all the way from monthly cost in 2019 USA national is like homemaker services about 4,200, 4,290. Then homemakers health aid 4,385. Adult day health care almost 1,625 cost. That's per month. That's per month. By the way, I wanted to mention it. It's monthly cost. And then, of course, private one bedroom all over USA combined, with the old and the new facilities, 4,051. And then semi-private room is like 7,500. And then, of course, private room, nursing home is like 85. But who pays for, who pays is actually self. About 60% of the monies are coming from the seniors themselves. About 30 to 14 to 50%, it says 30% here. Family pitches in, insurance pitches in here, Medicaid, that's very small. Social Security is very, very small. So that's where. Would you like to say anything on that, Mr. Imran?
Yeah, so as you can see here, I was saying, 60% is self-paid. So that means that generation has, uh, retirement fund that they are using it. So and these people, are paying it. So it's proven, and it will continue. So if
Yeah.
you see insurance, we only have 4.7%, or if you combine insurance and Medicaid, under 10%.
Yeah.
So
Sure, sure. John, I'll let you cover this one. I know we've been purchasing C class, B class. Now we are buying B plus, like you saw the Bentley I shared, $52 million deal we purchased, Monil Investment Group and Enzo. And then we also purchased 35 million. We can raise a lot more money now. That's how we can afford. But I wanted John to kind of share what are the differences between already built multifamily, which a lot of you might have already invested in and might be thinking about investing, and what the other side, newly built assisted living, what different comparisons. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. So this is kind of why we're so excited about, senior living, assisted living, not only because it's helping giving back to the community, giving back to the seniors, but it also makes sense to us. So if you look at what we've been doing or what Vinny has, done for the last 12 years, buying B plus, C class apartments, when we compare that to the newly built assisted living, the income potential is much higher. So if you look at the average rent, anywhere from $800 to $1,500, depending on the bedroom size. Whereas in newly built assisted living, the average for a one bedroom, it's roughly $3,800 to $4,200, and goes up for each additional activity of daily living. There's different things, so you can get much higher very quickly. So the income potential is much higher. Concessions, delinquency are very, very low in this class. And if you look at apartments, it's very competitive in the apartment world. So you do have to give some concessions, here and there to, I remember when I moved in college, if we paid the year in full, we got 5 or 10% off, just, as an incentive. So we don't really have to do that because the competition's there. And then the demographic, like we touched earlier, we have a non-working resident. So jobs, it doesn't really affect us as much. And with most of the money being private or insurance, we're not worried about other sources of income. So it's very good. The average stay is roughly 2 years compared to multifamily, where you can get a 6-month lease, 12-month lease. And a lot of people, they move from apartment to apartment. So there's a lot of turnover. And then if we look at the investment time, so our strategy, we're looking 2 to 3 years, whereas most apartment, when you buy in a syndication, it's roughly 5 to 7 years, so much longer. And the returns are much better, which we'll talk about in future webinars, but we're very excited for these reasons.
Thank you, John. You want to take care of this too?
Yeah, absolutely. So actually, what we're really excited to say that senior living has outperformed all the real estate classes since 2007, and we truly believe it's only going to continue to outperform the other ones, and for a number of reasons. So we have 5 strong reasons here because of the demographics. So the demographics shifting, all the baby boomers every day, like Vinny mentioned, are turning 65 and older. 10,000 of them. That's a huge wave. And so I think it's by 2040, the population of 65 and older is actually going to be larger than the population of 18 and under. So kind of, it really makes you think. So yeah, that's one reason. And the strong demand, which is the same thing. So we're, the supply is at a 30-year low. So we're getting in now to get our community set up. A lot of people are wondering about COVID. So, we're fortunate to say that, the strict policies that we've put in, we haven't seen any COVID in our assisted living facilities. So day one, lock them down. There's no gas, not even for birthdays. And I think Shahid actually installed TVs, monitors, so there's better interaction with the families, which, very good. So the strict policies going forward, especially governed by the government, and even in our communities, we're taking extreme measures to ensure the safety of the residents. And so we talk to a lot of investors now, and I always say, would you rather have your 90-year-old mom or dad in a place where they're happy, they're getting 3 meals a day, they're getting their medicine, they're safe, or would you rather have them at home where you can't go visit them because you're scared you might be carrying COVID? So it's a trade-off. So I think in the right community, it'll continue to be strong, and then the high investor ROI as well. So.
Surely, John. And again, this is a very similar kind of thing we wanted to share. Senior housing transaction activity by the buyer type. I know a lot of time, investors like to know, who is going to buy these facilities in the senior housing. Builders can keep on building, but how many can they manage and keep and so forth? So we really like this graph from the chart from Real Capital Analysis 2019, very good one. It shows the cross border right there, the yellow one institutional buyers are the blue ones. As you can see, the REITs and the listed ones are in the green. And then the private is the huge one. Wow. Look at that whopping number of so much percentage of these people are buying these assisted living and the senior housings, and then user and others is very, very small on the top, as you can see. So it's really interesting to see that there is a big demand from the different buyers. And that's why, like Shahid was saying, that we got an offer. And actually, there's one in Michigan. Shahid built it like about 45% or something. And he got an offer to purchase, right, Shahid? Is that right?
Yes, yes. Yeah, it was from a private investor. So the building was completed only, I believe, 47, 48%.
Mhm.
They put in or LOI.
Sure, sure. And then this one, again, we do want to talk about like the health peak feels effects of COVID, but says that the pent up demand will help occupancy rebound. And the New York, will no longer require nursing homes to take these patients. That was the other reason, I think, why it was very strict rules that they have to take COVID-19 patients into the nursing homes. That kind of hurt a lot of nursing homes where the deaths happen. But you can read a lot more on the internet, as all the people on the webinar tonight, and what's behind the nursing home horror. And after decades of mistreatments, older Americans are bearing the worst of the pandemic. That's because of how these are designed. The old 10 unit, 15 unit, 5 unit homes, kind of, so there is a much less space where people cannot have the distancing and the lockdowns and things like that. And, again, we can go over and over again right there that, COVID shortage and long term impact to healthcare and the business. Over 7,000 long-term care facilities have reported cases of COVID. I just wanted to kind of share that we picked up from the statistics. 11% of the cases came from the long-term care nursing homes and things. Senior housing employment had 10% better rate than overall total employment. $100 billion allocated to healthcare providers in that the new testing of the COVID-19, as you know, in the Senate passed that bill in that money. And then 200 million to assist nursing homes with COVID-19 infections and to prevent the spread. So a lot of things, measures were taken, but maybe because of the nature of it, the old age, and also if somebody contracts it and somebody's exposed to it. I think in our cases, the reason we didn't have one because we locked down totally. So it was a herd inside, 60 residents, 80 residents, and so on. They never went out and they were locked down, never had meetings with their family, just like, John mentioned, and so on. But we can talk more about it, even more further also. The other thing we wanted to mention was also, as you know, all the investors like to look into tax benefits of real estate. That's the reason we really, really invest money. Stock market, of course, like John said, we had a pretty big fallout today, but it's 1900 points. But the thing is, you have to buy stocks with real value. You could play margin, you could play options, put and calls. But the thing is, you have to pay whatever stock price is. But with the real estate, you get the leverage, 70%, 30%, 80%, LTV leverage. But the other part is the cost segregation. That is the huge part, accelerated depreciation, which will be passed on to our investors, which we've been passing in the K1, because the LLC in syndication world, when they own it, it's a pass-through entity. So we don't really have to, pay taxes in the LLC, but then our investors get the effect of the accelerated depreciation. Also, there is possibility of 1031 exchanges, self-directed retirement plans can be investing in these kind of deals and so on. So just wanted to mention that our mission is that we want to spoil the generation who has spoiled us. That's me here in my Indian costume and everything in my home. And then this is the podcast. We would love to have you all join us if you can. Actually, there should be one more time. We do it live every Thursday, this same time at 5 p.m. at 5 p.m. Pacific, which is 8 p.m. Eastern. So we'll add that in there, and we'll be, it's only short, 35 to 45 minutes, but with new guests we'll be bringing and so on like that. But let's just go into this is what it includes. John, you want to share? Then we can share the quality of the thing, and we'll go question answer. Sure.
Cool. Yeah, absolutely. So what our goal is to kind of revolutionize the assisted living world, and through Shahid's vision. So it's truly an all-inclusive community. So it's like a dream come true. The meals are made, housekeeping, laundry, linen, basic help with your activities of daily living, programming, so things to do. So we truly believe in the community aspect. So weekly, monthly, different events, different things to keep the resident happy. Scheduled transportation, so they have their own driver, so doctor's appointments, other things that they need to go to. There's a van or a bus. The units include, the units are beautiful. They're big enough for wheelchairs. The bathrooms, so we toured them many times. And the bathrooms, in the current facilities, they're small. You can't go around. Ours are huge. So a lot of our residents are female as well. So the very big closets, females like their clothing. Private bathrooms in every unit, kitchenettes, high ceilings, the pull cords, of course. And then the biggest thing we pride ourselves is the community. And so, we include movie theaters, lounges, libraries, club rooms, salons, and spas, which are no additional cost to the resident. They just have to have their beautician come in, the person that they like. We truly believe in getting the resident outside. So gazebos, outdoor seatings. In the Florida locations, there's pools, public and private dining rooms. So if you want to have dinner, privately with mom or dad and uncle, brother, sister, really good. So, yes.
Surely. And, we are able to construct it from ground zero in 12 to 14 months. That's the exciting part, that Shahid is able to kind of perfect the system, and he's built 23 of them. So that way, he's able to get the general contractors and subcontractors who are able to do this job very quickly and so forth like that. And this is just, we are going to share with you an example of the Hampton Manor of Cape Coral in Florida, how the exterior looks, the vegetation, all the plants and all. As you can see, they're just so brand new, just as propping up over there. We are not even open there yet, by the way, but this is the putting green inside in one of the compounds. This is the waterfall function here, and then arbor and everything. So inside, when you enter, it's like 5-star resort, what it is, and we have the game room on the right side here. You can see the lounges, the sofas, the color combinations, the flooring, the dining halls, and all those. And then the movie theaters, the spas, like John just mentioned, salons, and also library, which is just very, very, we want them to give an experience of really just like they're living at home. They are able to enjoy the camaraderie of their other residents, much different than apartment complexes that we have been managing and, buying and so forth like that. Residence is their own and nobody really interacts. But in ours, we have commercial kitchens, dining halls, the chef, administration, about 55 to 60 staff at each facility of about 80 to 90, like that. And then you could see also, please go ahead, Mr. Shahid. Yeah, let's see.
So basically, our product is unique, is different. When I started senior living back in 2011, those assisted living did not have private dining room. They did not have spa. They did not have movie theater. All those amenities, we started, believe it or not, in 2011, our very first building in Michigan. So this where how we get to spoil our seniors by providing them exactly what they are looking and what they need and make it feel like home.
Thank you. Thank you. And just see the color combinations and the designing features, very soft colors. The sunroom you see on the left, the dining rooms, the game rooms, We just, everything is very meticulously designed, the furniture and everything, to give the best of the best experience. The big one is this one. Would you like to share this? Yeah.
Yeah, so courtyard is something where we encourage our residents to go outside, and we usually put a patio by their apartment so they can have outdoor furniture, and they also can do plantation if they want to, if they have hobby, and we encourage them, be outside, use swimming pool, use putting green, be active and live throughout the facility.
Sure, sure. Thank you. Thank you so much. So, interiors are also very nice. The studios, the one bedrooms, the two bedrooms, they are very spacious. Like John was saying, bathrooms, you could see that, how much space is there for storage and all. And not only that, but how the wheelchair can turn 365 degrees larger, the doors and everything, the openings, and also high ceilings, so that our seniors can enjoy the not claustrophobic, but have some good things there. So we just wanted to kind of share with you all these things. It's about 1 hour, but we would love to open it up for your questions. And again, we are very very excited about senior living. I hope you saw through the data, through the graphs and everything we showed you, how you could make a difference in your communities, by possibly investing in them, or even making them, and making a better place. And if anybody is interested, you could definitely reach out to us, and then we'll be able to talk to you, and then find out what your goals are, what your, where you have invested before, and get to know you more through the SEC ruling, Securities and Exchange Commission ruling. And then we can present to you, meet with you in the second or third visit. Then we can share with you the future opportunities that we are working on. As you saw in the presentation, we're working on many of them. Also, there is a great website. If you could just look at it and go there, Senior Living Investing, seniorlivinginvesting.co. So it's co, not .com. I wanted to mention that. So it's seniorlivinginvesting.co. If you go in there, you could kind of see our whole, structure, and who we are, and more, and what we have done, and so forth. And, if you'd like to proceed even further, I also wanted to mention that to everybody tonight. I know a lot of our, people who come to our webinars are very highly accomplished people in their profession, or they're in real estate, or they are trying to build their brand and systems. So we have opened up a new company with Monil Digital Branding. Wanted to just give you a little blur about it. It's not SEC ruled or anything like that. But the thing is that we are putting all the click funnels, the active campaign integrations, the lead magnets, the email sequences, the websites, the Facebook ads, podcasts in a box. So we have different packages that we are able to present to our clients. Should say, they could be investors, they could be clients, they could be business people who want us to take care of that for you. So that's our other business, Monil Digital Branding. We wanted to mention that. And then the last one is again the question and answers, and you can actually just text us the word learn or invest to 474747. You will reach us also, because we also have an academy. I've been running it and teaching my skills, and many of you can see my social media postings and other stuff like that, where I teach how to underwrite, how to get loans, how to talk to brokers, how to get more investors, all the things, how to build your brand, all the things I teach. So that's another one. And then John is the VP of our academy also, who's joining with me as our partners. And then the other thing is, you could always email us to vinny@vinnychopra.com. So that's my website and Mr. Imran's website. together is this one, seniorlivinginvesting.co. You could go there, or you could email directly to Vinny@vinnychopra.com. You could even go to the website vinnychopra.com. And I would love to have our panel, all three of us, at your disposal to talk about what questions you might have. Thank you. Thank you so much for taking the time tonight to be with us, for this webinar. I hope it was worthwhile for you, and that you were able to kind of familiarize yourself a lot more about senior housing, the need, the shortages, the trends, and everything.
Awesome. So there are a couple questions. So the first one, what is the dip in occupancy right now due to COVID?
Okay, I think I would say Mr. Imran can kind of answer that question, because we are managing 14 of the, even though some have been sold, but the buyers who bought these facilities, they kept Mr. Imran's company to manage them. So
Yeah, so basically, when you hear assisted living, it's a necessity. So it's just like you get sick, you go to hospital, right? So we did not lose any residents. They are staying. The only thing is, we unfortunately they were not allowed to visit their loved one.
yeah,
But we did not lose any. Occupancy did not go down. It stayed same or maybe better. Uh, we did stop taking new residents from direct hospital or nursing home, because they were the higher, you know, positive COVID-19. So, and even when we take new residents, new calls, we 14 days we are quarantine before they can come out and join other residents.
Nice. No, it's awesome. So the next question is, what does the liability look like for investors with all the COVID things around COVID and the deaths in retirement community?
Get in.
So basically, if you see it, this COVID is not something permanent. It's temporary, and of course, it's a new norm for us to, and we are adopting this new norm. So I don't think there should be any concern. Even the new facilities we start, so we're starting 4 or 5 new projects, I believe, between July and August. And by the time they are completed, it will be at least 14, 15 months. At that time, I think this COVID should go away.
sure. Thank you.
So the next one, the U.S. population is getting more and more in debt. Also, pensions are not as popular right now. How will people be able to afford private pay senior living? Many people can't afford to retire. What percentage of seniors 65 plus actually live and / want to live in these senior housings? So essentially, how are people going to pay for it? And then, what percent want to live? So a lot of that's, they don't, as we saw in the chart, there's more of a need, it's more needed, and it's not their choice at some point. So they have, a loved one dies, the spouse dies, or they have a trip fall. So it's time for that. They can't live on their own anymore. So a lot of it is, family, people pushing them into it. And then the second part is there's insurance. We build in areas that have higher income. And so a lot of times they have equity in their homes, long-care term insurance, or son or daughter. So as we saw in the graph prior, it's roughly 80% is either private pay or from a son or daughter. So,
Sure. And also, isn't that right, that we also look at communities where the average income is not very rich, right? So we are able to build all these things. I wanted to mention that we are building these great, very high quality senior, housings or multifamily. That's all it is. It's assisted living for seniors, multifamily of 80 units, 60 units, 100 units, very small like that. So we are able to build them in the communities where people can afford, and we are not charging any more than what they are paying already for many years like that. Yeah.
Even if you see the expenses where you live in your own house, versus assisted living, there's a huge difference as well. So there is actually a saving by moving into assisted living. It's not one of the choice. You get up in morning, decide you want to go assisted living, but necessity. But once these residents they move in, they said they wish they were they have moved earlier because this it make a huge difference on their lifestyle. And we even get complaints from their kids that mom is gaining is overweight. Well, it's good, mom.
Yes,
So
yes, totally. Thank you. Other questions, John? Do we have more
So the
questions?
last one is your strategy to build and hold or build and sell quick exit?
Okay.
it depends on each individual project. So we might be building it to sell it, or we might be building it to keep it for longer.
Yeah, the need is there, and also the demand is there for the REITs or family offices or big funds, who like to, and operators. There are some operators we find in certain states who like to own 10, 15 of them because that's a business. See, building is one part of the business, operations is another part of the business. We are able to do the whole thing from getting the permits for getting the land all the way going through ordinance changes and then getting the architectural drawings feasibility all that. Then we are able to manage them, also market and manage. And then some of them, like Mr. Imran said, some people even buy them but keep us on because they love our techniques and how we operate, with service being the very high quality service. I think that's the thing. So that's where, we determine whether we should sell it or keep it. But a lot of time our investors want their money back, and that's why we said turnaround time is like 3 years, because we could build it in 12 to 14 months. Then we can take 9 to 12 months to market and everything, get to about 70, 80, 90%. And then we can take deferred maintenance, accelerated deferred maintenance, depreciation into, not deferred maintenance, depreciation. And then we can sell it, return the capital back to the investors. That's the model we've been working on. And then we do have powers to buy ourselves also and maintain some of them.
And we have been very successful. We've been doing both models.
Yes, yes. All right, John, any other questions? Huh?
That's it. So that's perfect. Cool. Thanks everybody for joining us tonight.
Thank you from the bottom of our heart. And I really apologize in the starting. I just couldn't believe my MacBook just went berserk and everything, and apologize for entering the whole studio late. But thank you again. And we really appreciate your taking the time out of your busy schedule and joining us tonight. Please do look into some of these websites and other stuff if you're thinking about looking more into it, and you would like to get more personal visits with us, John or Mr. Shahid and all, we could do it. But please let us know how we can help you. And also every Thursday, please chime in at about 5 p.m. I live near San Francisco, California, so Pacific time, or 8 p.m. Eastern time. We are doing a live show just like this. You could come and meet with us, and there'll be less people there also. But every 3 weeks, we'll be doing a bigger seminar like this one to educate and bring a lot of guests also we'll be bringing. So please chime in, and thank you for again tonight, and God bless you. Bye-bye.
Also, you can see it on Saturday at
Oh, yeah. Oh,
9
yeah.
p.m.
Thank you so much. We are rebroadcasting our live show from Thursday night, 5 p.m. It will be rebroadcasted on Saturday, 9 a.m. Pacific again, which is like noontime Eastern. So we just want to give double dose. That's the podcast. And we are putting under my 2 podcasts also, which I already have out there. I wrote these 2 books, actually. I didn't share that. Apartment Syndication Made Easy. And we also got into Spanish now. And then, of course, the other book is coming out, and the 2 podcasts. Plus, this will be our 3rd podcast. and we are writing a book also. Mr. Imran and I and John are writing Investing in Senior Living, and also Lending Made Easy. That's my other show that I do on Fridays at 9:30 Pacific. So tomorrow morning, 9:30 Pacific is another show, Vinny and Bo show. So there are like 4 shows a week we do. Thank you again. Thank you so much. God bless you. And we'll see you again. Bye-bye. Okay.